Today we are going to crochet a very beautiful wheat flour bag. There is a rope at the mouth of the bag.
We can adjust the size of the bag mouth.
The interior space is also very large. Next, let's crochet the bottom of his bag. We use the circular needling method to cover the bottom. First on the fingers, around 2 rings. Then take off the needle ring. The crochet goes into the loop.
Crochet a loop. And then I'll take another shot.
In our first lap, we crocheted 6 short needles in the starting ring.
Hook method of short needle.
Crochet penetration. Winding out.
Winding.
Pull the 2 coils on the crochet at one time. This is our first shot. There will be a small braid at the top, and we'll use a mark to fasten the first stitch. Fix it. The crochet goes into the loop. Hook out a coil.
Winding.
Pull out the 2 coils on the crochet at one time. Second short needle. -3. -4. -5. -6. After we crochet 6 short needles, what about us? Come to this opening. We can see the opening.
Yes.
There are 2 segments and 1 end.
Let's pull the thread inside.
Just pull it tight. Then pull the thread outside.
Put it back in the crochet. Let's hook the first lap. When we hook it, we'll take it. Take off the mark of the first stitch. Crochet penetration. Hook a drawing needle with the first needle. Crochet a drawing needle. Then crochet a stand-up needle.
Next we start to crochet our second lap.
In our second circle, we added a needle to each of the 6 holes in the first circle.
Hook the first stitch and fix it with a mark button. -2 laps for us.
We've got 12 stitches in each hole. We've got it.
Take off the mark of the first stitch. The crochet goes into the first stitch. The first stitch crochets a drawing stitch. Then hook a needle. Next we start to crochet our third lap. In the third circle, we crocheted the fabric with 1 stitch in between. Every other needle plus 1 needle means
There is a short needle in the first hole.
the first hook is easy to use with a mark. Buckle it up. Add a needle to the second hole. There is a short needle in the third hole. Add a needle to the fourth hole. The fifth hole is a short needle. Add a needle to the sixth hole. We have a short needle and a short needle and a short needle. Hook this circle. In the third lap, we'll hook it with 1 stitch in between. Let's take a look at it. We've got the effect of 1 stitch plus another. Let's take off the mark of the first stitch. The crochet goes into the first stitch. Crochet a drawing needle. Then hook a needle.
The third lap is over.
Next we start to crochet the fourth lap. In the fourth lap, we went to the hook according to the method of adding 1 needle every 2 needles.
In order to make the bottom of the bag more round.
So we have to use this for both vertical lines. Stagger the way of adding needles.
What about the first shot?
First group. We follow the
-1 stitch apart.
how to add a needle. Decouple. Don't forget to buckle the first stitch with a mark. The second group started and we followed the crochet with 2 stitches and 1 stitch apart. So is the third group.
Every 2 and 1. And then we have the rest.
The remaining 3 groups were hooked according to the method of adding 1 needle every 2 needles. Hook up.
We have only the last stitch left after 1 stitch plus 1 stitch in 1 group and 2 stitches plus 1 stitch in 5 groups.
We are in the last hole.
Crochet a short needle.
And our first group.
It's 2 stitches apart and 1.
Let's take down the first stop mark. Crochet penetration.
Draw a needle with a hook.
Our fourth lap.
2 stitches apart and 1 hook.
Crochet a stand-up needle. Next we start to crochet our fifth lap. In the fifth lap, we went to the hook according to the method of adding 1 stitch every 3 stitches. Because the fifth lap is 3 stitches in odd rows plus 1, so we don't need to stagger the stitches. -1.
The first stitch is hooked, and we'll use a mark.
Mark it. -2. -3. -3 short needles without addition or reduction. Add a needle to the fourth hole. In the fifth lap, we've got 3 stitches and 1 stitch in between. Take off the mark of the first stitch. And the first shot. Crochet a drawing needle. Then we crocheted a stand-up needle and we started crocheting our sixth lap. In the sixth lap, we are even numbered. We use the method of adding 1 stitch every 4 stitches. What about the first group? We are
According to the interval of 2 needles plus 1 needle.
For the remaining 5 groups, we follow the every 4 stitches plus 1. After 2 stitches, a group of 2 stitches plus 1 and 5 groups of 4 stitches plus 1, we only have the last 2 stitches. We're in the last 2 stitches. Each hook has a short needle. And our first group made it 4 stitches apart and 1. And the first shot. Crochet a drawing needle. The sixth lap is over. Next, we'll hook according to our previous rules.
We're going to hook up to the 12th circle, 10 stitches apart and 1 stitch.
Our singular line.
The number of stitches corresponding to the 6th grid in the singular line. Add a shot, and then our even number line.
The corresponding number of stitches.
The first group is split into half of it. -1 needle is added, and the others are checked according to the corresponding number of needles.
Oh, finally, we can make up the remaining short needles.
Next, we will crochet by ourselves. In the 12th circle, add 1 stitch every 10 stitches. What will happen after we hook it? Well, we hook a needle.
Hook another needle.
Next we start to tick our bags. What about the first lap of our bag? We are
short needles.
Well, it's only half the needle. Crochet from the center of the pigtail. The outer half of the line is only raised when the needle is pierced outward. Hook out a coil.
Hook short needle.
The first stitch is buckled with a mark. We've got every shot in the back. The hook only hooks its outer half. The first lap covers the first lap. It's a circle of short needles that can't be reduced. We've only hooked the outer half of the needles. Next we crochet one with the first stitch. Drawing needle.
Hook another needle.
Then we began to crochet the second loop of our body.
The second to third laps of the body are not increased or decreased. We don't need 2 rows of short needles that don't add or subtract. Well, we don't need to just hook the outer half of the needle. We are. The whole thing was provoked. Pick up the whole braid. Crocheted. We continue to crochet. Dash 2 rows of short needles. We'll hook up the 3 lines that are not added or subtracted. After the hook is finished, we will hook a needle with the first needle. Then we started to hook our pattern. Let's start from the 4th circle and hook the pattern drawn by our Wheatear. In the 3rd lap, we had a good hook. What was the total? 72. 72. 3 needles. 3 stitches for a pattern. A total of 24 hooks are needed. Pattern. Let's hook 2 risers. 2. Skip the first stitch and don't hook. Then come to the second hole.
Winding.
Into the second hole. Hook 3 unfinished middle and long needles.
Once. Winding.
Twice.
Winding.
3 times.
Hook the middle and long needles that have not been finished for 3 times.
Then we wound the wire.
1 time pull out.
3 on the needle. Coil.
All the coils on the needle.
The formation of this. This needle is our first needle. Then we hook 1. 1 more hook in the middle. Braid needle. Then wind the wire. Still in. In this hole. Hook the unfinished middle long needle 3 times. Twice. 3 times. Then the winding pulls all the coils on the needle at one time. We'll hook such a spike. That's it. Let's go. It's not enough to skip 2 stitches. Skip 2 stitches without hook. Come. We're in the 3rd hole. Continue to crochet.
We have this spike pattern. Winding.
1.
Once.
Unfinished medium and long needles.
Winding.
2 unfinished medium and long needles.
Winding.
3 unfinished middle and long needles. The winding puller pulls all the coils on the crochet at one time. Then hook another one.
Braid needle. No winding.
And into this hole.
Hook 3 unfinished middle long needles.
The winding is pulled through the needle at one time.
3. All coils. We'll hook the second spike.
This is the rule we follow.
Skip 2 stitches in winding. No hook to the 3rd hole. Spikelets are now in the last group. Well, we'll skip 2 stitches in the last group. The needle came here.
Yeah.
Let's hook up the last group. After hooking up the last group, we can see that there is only 1 shot left here. It doesn't matter. We have the last shot left here. At the beginning, there was an empty stitch, and the 2 stitches were combined. It's 2 empty stitches.
so it's every one.
Well, the interval between each ear of wheat is the same. And then after the hook, we end our first stitch. Hook a needle. Then hook 2. Standing needle. At the beginning of each circle, we hook a needle like this. And then we hook 2 standing needles, and then we hook our spike needles. This one on our second lap.
Yeah.
Wheat tweed. It's in our area. The ear of wheat in the first row.
Middle.
Here's the needle. Hooked. Then. Hook, a lock pin is still in here. And where this? In this hole. In this hole.
And then we went winding.
In the middle of the second spike. Pick a needle in. To crochet the second one. Wheatear flower.
Our crocheting method is the same.
And then we'll go. In this way. Well, the up hook pattern is 10 turns.
We hooked the 10th lap.
And the first needle hook is a drawing needle.
Hook a needle. Then tick 3. Standing needle.
Hook up 3 needles.
And then we started to hook.
Long hook needle.
Hook method of long needle.
Winding.
Wherein? Next hole. Hook out. A coil is wound. Let me start with the first 2 coils. Winding and pulling. The last 2 coils.
This is the hook method of long needle.
Then we crochet a long needle in each braid. In this row, we all hook long needles. After a row of long needles are hooked, we end the first needle. Hook a needle. Hook a needle and then hook a needle. Standing needle. Then. In this row, we hook a row of short needles and then.
Well, hook another row of short needles.
After a row of short needle hooks are ready, we will have a drawing needle with the first needle hook.
Then hook a needle. Pull the line out.
Cut. Then we hide the thread.
Next, let's crochet his bridle.
We can keep it a little longer in the front, huh?
What about our bridle rope? From 64. Braid needle. -1. -2. 34. -4. -5.
After 64 braid stitches are crocheted, let's cut the thread.
The head and tail lines should be slightly longer. After cutting, we put it on this one of ours.
Well, put it in our bag.
The position of this row of long needles.
Position of long needle.
Well, it's the interval.
-6 needles. -6 needles apart. -6 needles apart.
Wear it once. -1. -2. -3456. Pull out every 6 stitches.
Then interval 6 needles 1 2 3 4 5 6.
Pull it out again.
-123,456.
It's been 6 stitches apart. Pull it out this way. Come out of here.
What about us when we're dressed?
2. Well, here are 2 more pearls.
Then make another one.
This is the shape. Make another shape like this and put these 2 bunches through here. The same method is used here. Here, put 1 pearl. We can use our pearl chain when we come in.
Such a very lovely one.
Baby, we're done.